Hello everyone, I'm Parker and we continue to brainstorm wildly. Let's take a look at the second aspect, the behavior of parents during this period within the family. Once the children reach high school, parents typically become acutely sensitive to a significant issue: their children look down on them. Why do they look down on their parents? It's often related to knowledge. Many parents, despite having graduated from college, have long forgotten the knowledge they learned in high school. They don't understand the current educational material. Consequently, during this time, many students display a heightened level of confidence and start to look down on their parents. This behavior can be quite pronounced, especially when coupled with students' desire to keep up with trends and be seen as fashionable, making them believe that their parents are outdated and know nothing. Some children from well-off or middle-class families may view their parents' lives as unimpressive or tiring, even though their parents worked hard. These children lack experience in the workforce and may not understand the challenges their parents face. As parents, they perceive things as simple and wonder why their parents cannot accomplish them. As a parent, you may notice these issues arise during your interactions with them. As a parent, your main goal for your children once they enter high school is for them to be accepted into college, whether it's for recognition or prestige. During this time, many parents tend to be very understanding and lenient towards their children, even if it may be difficult to hear. Most parents during this phase are extremely respectful and eager to please their children. Why? To motivate them to study. There's no other way around it. As I mentioned before, if you try to force education or become a tiger mum or wolf dad, you'll find that your children will resist even more. To be straightforward, many parents feel anxious about this because they know how crucial this period is. As high school begins, many students may seem spoiled by their families. They receive money and material possessions without much thought from their parents. Parents may believe this is enough to fulfill their responsibilities without considering other factors such as teaching their children abstract thinking skills. Unfortunately, many parents lack these skills themselves and are unable to impart them to their children. This can leave them feeling powerless during this important phase of their children's lives. Why do I say your parents appear powerless? It's because you don't have any other options during this time. No matter what mischievous things your children do outside, your parents have to cover for them, right? You continue to care for them as if they were still in primary school, but you are mistaken because they have grown up, and your excessive care often leads to more self-centeredness and arrogance. I'm not saying that all children are like this. I'm discussing general trends. The specific behaviors of children vary greatly depending on different families and environments. Of course, I want to clarify that students who can attend high school often come from middle class or higher income families. Impoverished families typically cannot afford to send their children to high school, let alone beyond. Many of these children, when they make it to high school, bring strong hopes and expectations from their families. As parents, they believe their child is now on the cusp of going to college and achieving success, which is a correct thought. It's just one step away. However, the problem lies in how to take that one step. In high school, not every student is guaranteed to go to college. There's still the college entrance examination or equivalent assessments and the possibility of not passing, so you can't assume that just because your child is in high school it's equivalent to them already being in college. Parents should not have this kind of thinking. Of course, as mentioned earlier, when students reach high school, parents often have limited control over them. They can only coax and encourage them to study diligently. However, can they excel academically under these passive conditions? Can they truly become top students? So during this period, I don't know how parents perceive these issues. In reality, everyone has different thoughts, so I don't know how to provide a standard answer. However, as parents, I believe you should do two things. First, understand your children. Understanding your children involves several aspects. One is recognizing that they are under heavy academic pressure and their studies have reached a qualitatively different stage in high school. Their academic pressure increases and what do they need at this time. They need a thinking pattern. If a child can get into high school, their thinking ability is certainly not lacking. The only thing they may lack is the right thinking pattern. So as parents, first think about whether you as an experienced individual can provide your children with good guidance. That's the key. On the other hand, while understanding your children, gradually correct them as well. You can't just let them do whatever they want. Allowing them to do as they please in essence does them no good. So please parents, think about what your children need during this period. You must be clear that they don't need fancy clothes or expensive cars. They don't need these things and you shouldn't indulge them by buying these things. More importantly, don't let them have an expensive smartphone just to show off among their peers and the opposite sex. It's pointless. The second point and the most crucial issue for parents during this period is how to guide their children regarding relationships with the opposite sex. This is extremely important. To be honest, many students who struggle academically or fail to get into college often face these issues, and it's these issues that led to a decline in their academic performance. If you don't believe it, you can research or investigate this further. Many students who ultimately don't get into college often do so because they start dating and their grades suffer. As parents, you should be vigilant about this issue and guide your children on how to understand matters related to relationships and sexuality. As I mentioned earlier, there's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to sex education, so as parents it's up to your discretion and judgment. First and foremost, you should teach your children the concept of responsibility. Guide them on how to take responsibility for their actions. When a problem arises, encourage them to analyze it and determine whether they can handle the responsibility and whether it might involve breaking the law. By the time they reach high school, they are old enough to bear legal responsibility. As they grow older, they should not only understand moral responsibility but also be aware of the legal consequences of their actions. Therefore, as parents during this period, it's crucial to teach them what it means to be responsible. If you don't teach them, they will continue with the reckless mindset from junior high, thinking that they can do whatever they want without consequences. Moreover, during this period their rebellious tendencies are strong, and the more you forbid them, the more they will want to do it. So, how do you handle this? Therefore, this period is indeed quite challenging to guide them in analyzing these issues. You need to provide them with a solid thought process. I want to emphasize that as adults, whether as parents or working professionals, what truly needs to change is your mindset. What needs to change is your habitual thought patterns, which can be quite self-righteous. You might think you're always right, but let me tell you, if your child reaches high school during this period, I can assure you that this kind of thinking will only push them further in the opposite direction. It will make them more rebellious and lead them do the wrong path. You need to reflect on this. Being a parent means you have a responsibility, and that responsibility goes beyond providing for them or giving them money. These are just the basics. Your real duty is to guide them toward the right path. Don't allow your child to become a societal outcast. Don't let them turn into undesirable individuals. That's the crux of your responsibility as parents. I may have offended many parents, especially middle-aged ones, by saying this, but I'm only stating the facts. Take a moment to reflect. There's no need to argue. Immediately resisting my viewpoints won't help. Instead, calm your thoughts and consider whether the issues I've mentioned exist, and then think about how to address them. It's not about opposing everything someone says the moment they say it. Many people tend to have this kind of thinking as if they're just opposing for the sake of opposition. Such thinking is truly dangerous. People react immediately with contradictions as if everyone else is wrong and they are the only ones who are correct. But let me ask you, if you're so sure of your correctness, why aren't you the ruler of the world? Why haven't you become an emperor? I don't mind offending you, but I'm telling you the truth. During high school, the root of most of these students' problems lies with you as parents. Think about it. During this period, another behavior exhibited by families and parents is dependency on the school. This thought has both its merits and demerits. Some schools indeed have better teacher resources, stronger teaching methods, and consequently, higher college enrollment rates. This phenomenon does objectively exist. However, to be frank, just because a school is good doesn't mean its teachers understand the correct thinking patterns. In reality, many of them might not fully comprehend it. They may have accumulated some teaching experiences and methods over time to help students study more effectively, but that's about it. It's not an absolute correlation. Many parents put too much faith in the quality of a school. Objectively, I can say that the school's influence is not as significant as you might think. I'm not saying it has no impact at all, but in the real world, you have to consider that not every child can attend a top-notch school, and not every child will become a top student or be guaranteed to go to college. It's not a realistic expectation for everyone. I believe the most critical aspect during this period is the issue of thinking patterns. When students enter high school, they require this type of thinking pattern even more. Why? Because they've gone through 3 years of foundational knowledge learning in junior high school, and in high school they enter a new stage without understanding these thinking patterns. All this knowledge can become very confusing. If students' learning becomes chaotic, they won't be able to continue effectively and they won't achieve the goal of studying well. So I want to emphasize that during this period the most crucial factor is indeed the development of thinking patterns. However, parents worldwide often fail to recognize this issue. They tend to think, we'll send you to a good school, and some wealthier parents may opt for private schools. How can I put this? I don't understand their mindset, but I can be sure of one thing: these choices have no significant impact. Private schools, like regular ones, have issues related to school hours, and they don't inherently solve the fundamental problem. Of course, some private schools boast about their closed campus management where students live on the school premises. However, it's mainly a means to generate income from parents, yet students still find ways to go out and do what they want. Do you believe that you can lock them up effectively? It's quite challenging. Moreover, the more you try to impose such restrictive measures, the more they'll think about ways to evade them. You won't address the fundamental problem this way. Therefore, as parents, you should recognize that during this period you need to help your children develop a solid thinking pattern. When they encounter problems, your role should be to guide them using this thinking pattern, allowing them to arrive at the correct answers themselves. Only when they analyze and find the right path will they truly understand and embrace it psychologically. Subsequently, their actions will be based entirely on their thoughts and ideas. Therefore, what we emphasize as most important is their thinking. These issues of rebellion and the emergence of immature or negative thoughts during adolescence are all caused by the lack of a solid thinking pattern. So during this period they are like uncut gems, and it is the joint responsibility of parents and schools to shape them. However, the most crucial responsibility lies with parents, because the family atmosphere and environment have a fundamental impact on students. This is a fundamental aspect and you cannot blame anyone else for it. The family is the core, and I hope you can understand this. So when children reach the high school stage, especially a significant portion of students who may not attend prestigious schools or private institutions but instead enroll in regular high schools, I believe that this period plays a crucial role in shaping their future lives and destinies. As parents, if you can assist them during this period, providing them with guidance toward a sound thinking pattern, then I believe their future lives won't be significantly hindered. Of course, I'm here with advice, and as for your parents, how you perceive yourselves is your own business. If you truly believe you're infallible, well, go ahead and try it. No one can control or restrict you in this regard. From a societal, moral or legal perspective, no one can limit you. So if you think you're always right, then go ahead and communicate that with your children. Let's see if they can accept your way of thinking. In summary, when students reach high school, parents may not have direct control over their behavior and may not be able to influence them through language or communication as they used to. However, having a correct thinking pattern to guide them during this period can still play a crucial role. Especially when your children find studying challenging, if you can guide them with a good thinking pattern and help them make learning easier, they will likely accept your thinking pattern wholeheartedly once they develop a habit of this thinking pattern. Their future life path will also become brighter. As for how your parents perceive this matter, it's up to you. But don't forget that your children's worldviews, life perspectives and values may not only be mature at this stage but also stubborn. Whether you can transform them during their high school years is the only opportunity. As I mentioned earlier, during this high school phase, students will go through another shift in their thinking. If you can seize this opportunity and truly transform their mindset, they will benefit for a lifetime. Finally, I would like to give a piece of advice to all parents. Take some time to reflect on all the issues discussed here, as they are all responsibilities that you as parents should fulfill. Alright, that's the end of this talk.
Friends who are interested in my lectures, please click to subscribe and click on the little bell. At the same time, the links to the Big Tree Thinking Model Theory ebook and the Big Tree Thinking Model and Junior High School Mathematics lectures are here below. Friends can click on the link to watch related free lectures. Thank you all.